Hey guys, in this video, I will be sharing everything from first touch to attacking to formation explanation. You will find 2 formations in this video to passing. Everything you need will be in this video, and I will break it into parts. These are all my videos so far on the channel in one long video, so that you do not have to watch every video if you are a new viewer. So sit back, relax and enjoy. Before we begin, as always, I do one-on-one coaching where you get my full undivided attention for the price of one untradeable $30 pack in the store.
Every dollar I spent was a good investment, I think. Yeah. You really bring back the fun in the game, and that's really important for me. Thanks a lot.
Schedule a call by going to the link in the description below. What most people don't know about EAFC 25 is that this year, the first touch is everything. Without a good first touch, you can't pass and build up, and you will make silly mistakes that lead to a goal. On the attacking side, without a great first touch, you cannot score or build up to score. A simple rule before we get technical is always to remember to take a touch away from the defender. Look at the clips I am playing right now. I'm going to slow down every time I take a first touch and tell me what you notice. In these clips, all I am doing is taking a touch where there is no opponent and exploring that space. There is absolutely nothing wrong with taking a touch backward. Let me say it again. There is nothing wrong with taking a touch backward to allow yourself some space. My method is more of a fast, aggressive play style. What I do instead is, first I take my thumbs completely away from the sticks before receiving the ball. Yes, that includes R2. And I take a touch or a dribble toward the empty space, and then I press the sprint button. I found that this is the most enjoyable and works for me. Now let's recap. The most important rule before anything to remember when taking a first touch is take a touch toward the empty space. Yes, most cases in higher divisions, that will include taking a touch backwards. Number 2, if you need a quick fix, hold L1 or RB. If you are on Xbox, this will give you close control and the ball will be glued to your player's foot. And lastly, my method is to not hold or touch anything, but to simply, while the ball is traveling toward my player, take my thumbs away from the sticks. And as soon as the ball is close to my player, use the left stick to take a touch towards the empty space. Many people are really struggling when it comes to what to do when they reach the opponent's box. In this video, I'm gonna try to break down what is exactly going on in my mind when I am breaking down a player. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You're playing against an opponent, and no matter how much you try to build up and pass the ball around, it just seems like you cannot get close to their goal. And even if you do, you mess up a final pass and the ball gets intercepted, or instead of shooting you dribble and you get tackled. I know this all too well, because I see it quite often when I'm playing against inexperienced players. The fix is very simple. That is to think fast. You have to have a plan in mind and a purpose behind your dribbling and passing. Let me break down this amazing goal I scored with JJ. I remember this game I was losing, and no matter what I did, this guy was really solid as a defender. I tried to stretch his defense and cut back inside, but he just was not falling for it. So when I got the ball right here, I knew he was gonna expect me to pass or go towards the wing. When I saw this space behind him, my eyes lit up. But I knew if I simply ran into the space, he would have caught up and I would not get very far. So that's why I instead went for the simple step over skill move. And I exploded into the space in front of me and a simple nice green time trivela to finish. We will go over one more amazing goal I scored because I read the opponent like a book. And after this example, I will show you a way to break down any defense easily without any skill moves. But this clip let me flex a little. It all starts in my half. I want you guys to pay attention. My Leao, Theo, and Okocha. Look at how my striker, who is JJ, comes to me to give me a passing option. This is why I believe false 9 is the best instruction for your strikers this year. Those three formed a nice triangle for me, and all I had to do was pass to my striker. Then I pass back, because I want to drag his fullback with me. Look at his fullback. He expects I'm gonna play to JJ again, but we play it to our left back. So that way, we have two runners. This is really important, guys. Notice my controller, how every time I pass while holding L1. This forces whoever passes the ball to make a run after they pass. And now that we have two runners, the opponent shuts down because there is too much going on. A moment of hesitation from our opponent of whether to cover Theo or my Leao, and we execute a nice through ball. What comes after is something I can only say has to be the cooking of the century. Like I taught you guys in my last video, we do the directional nutmeg just as he was shoulder to shoulder with us, because you can do this move while at full sprint. And I knew very well he was gonna challenge me again, because I invited him to come back. So I used the momentum against him, and we performed a simple fake shot. This variation, by the way, guys, you must have Trickster as a play style. And then most people here, they would shoot. But come on, we're not most people, are we? A little ball roll, and we simply pass it to an open net. And lastly, as I promised, the easiest way to open up any defense and open up passing options in the box. This example is all about wing play, and you don't need to know how to do any skill moves at all. You must prioritize getting to this part of the field, the corner flag. Once you get to this area, notice something. Look at his back line. They all went all the way back into the box. And then look at all the passing options you have. Once you are here, it's really about making a short pass very quickly by always passing into your midfielder and then to your strikers for an easy goal. But since we are a little too extra, we decided to do one more pass, because if we went to our striker too quickly, the opponent would have noticed and read us. That's why the extra pass is always important, to open up just a little bit more space. And then boom, we go for an easy cross-body shot. No need to green time it at all. This is one of, if not the only, dribbling techniques you should master this year, as I think it is one of the most effective ways to dribble this year. Before we begin, a quick look at my camera settings for all my people who asked me in the last videos. Copy it and take a screenshot. The camera settings you have is really important when it comes to dribbling, because you need to see your players up close so that you can make those sharp turns. I tested out Telebroadcast and Legacy and have found a lot of success with Legacy. You can try Telebroadcast and see if it works for you as well. Why I don't like Telebroadcast is because I can't see when my players are making runs in behind or who is open when I have the ball. The dribbling technique I am talking about is the controlled sprint. If you thought this dribbling technique was OP last year, you are in for a treat this year. For a controlled sprint in EA FC 25, timing is everything. This dribbling technique helps you keep the ball close to your player, giving you more precision and agility while sprinting down the field. Unlike a regular sprint, a controlled sprint allows you to maintain balance and adjust direction without sacrificing too much speed, which is key when you're maneuvering through tight defenses or setting up a clean shot. Use it when you want to quickly advance but still need control, especially in situations where defenders are nearby and a simple sprint would risk losing possession. This balance between speed and control can give you an edge, allowing you to weave through challenges without losing momentum. To perform it is very simple. You just hold R1 and move your left stick towards the open space. Now, I'll walk you through what's going through my mind whenever I find myself in those situations, and when I like using them. First, as I said before, in build-up. In this game, I was having a hard time with creating chances. Also, there was a huge delay, as you all know, when it comes to the weekend league. I was rushing to attack and noticed that my opponent was a very aggressive defender. That is why when I was in this area of the field, which is where most people choose to pass, I activated the controlled sprint by holding R1 and gently moving my left stick towards the space, baiting him. And when I saw that he took the bait, that's when I passed to my striker. And like I said, as I noticed this guy was a very aggressive defender, I received the ball with L1 just like I showed you guys in the first touch video, and performed the speed boost by immediately pressing the sprint button. Let's go over one more clip where we use the R1 dribbling to set up a goal. As you can see in this clip, unlike the last clip, this defender is very calm and patient. He did not want to get close to me, and I have to salute this guy because this is the way to defend, not overcommitting and pulling your center backs. I waited and waited to see what he was going to do, and since I was using the R1 dribbling and flicking the stick side to side, he could not get the ball from me. As soon as I saw he was being too passive, I saw the run of Rodrigo, and it led to an easy goal. And now, let's learn how you can use it to score easy chances in the box. This is the area you want to use it the most, when you are around the box. As you can see, most people defend very aggressively in and around the box. And since we are using the controlled sprint, we easily just go past him for an easy goal. And the final clip, in this example, you can see I'm building up by doing fast passes and one-touch passes. When we eventually get near our opponent, he expects me to shoot right away. But what we do is immediately hold R1. And as I told you guys, you can use the R1 as a first touch after it touches your player's foot. Look at the small touch my Rodrigo takes. And then we simply walk in by still holding the R1. Hopefully, you guys implement this broken dribbling technique and break some ankles. I like using this to dribble, especially in bad gameplay, which, let's be honest, is almost every game of champs. This year, passing isn't really at its best, but hopefully, after watching this video, you guys can improve your passing and learn something from me. One thing a lot of people don't actually know is that there's a setting in the game that helps your passing tremendously. Go into your settings, find passing, and underground passing, change it from assisted to semi-assisted. This adjustment lets you pass faster, especially when you're trying to play on the run. Guys, you want to use fast passing most of the time because in this game, many people, when I go into FUT Champs qualification, for example, have a slow setup where they pass slowly and play methodically. And guys, there are times when slower passing is effective, especially if you're trying to control the game. But 99% of the time, that type of play style hurts your game. For example, when you're building up, if you're passing too slowly, you're inviting pressure. The slower you play, the more you invite the opponent to press you, and more often than not, you'll get punished. So that's why I always recommend, especially when building up, to make quick 1-2 passes all around the field, especially in the midfield area. Hence why I want you guys to get into the habit of passing with one-rander RB if you're on Xbox to pass up the field. This way you can add pace to your passing and open up opponents quicker. If you are using just regular passing, it's easy for people to read you and predict where you are passing. But if you use the R1 passing technique, this can help you be less predictable. Use this and make sure when you use it, you are facing the teammate you are passing to. Always face the direction you are passing to for the most accurate pass. A ball roll into an R1 passing is by the most accurate pass in the game, because when you do a ball roll, you open up space and pairing it with the R1. Chef kiss. Another tip is to use L1 and R1 at the same time. When you press L1 while passing, it initiates a 1-2, with the player making a forward run. Using R1 with the pass as well makes it quicker than a regular pass. This combination speeds up the play and helps break down the defense more effectively. Now, let's talk about formations. A lot of people get this wrong. For example, I play in a 4-4-2 formation, and I know it like the back of my hand. I know where all my players are, even when the camera is zoomed in. I know exactly where to find my left mid or right mid, and this understanding makes a huge difference. I can go wide, open up the defense, cut inside, recycle the ball to my midfield, and find my striker. This works so well because I know my formation. Formation really dictates how you play and pass, and knowing it well lets you make the most of your options. I'm a big fan of the 4-4-2 because it allows me to pass quickly and gives me the best options when I go down the wing. You need to know your formation well. That can really help with passing. To keep it simple, here's a quick summary. Know your formation. Set your pass into semi-assisted in settings for quicker, more powerful passes, and use R1 when you pass most of the time. Only switch to XRA on Xbox without L1 or R1 for quick one-touch passes. And remember, don't just pass for the sake of it. Every pass should build towards something. Like you see in these clips, I'm passing to create opportunities, open up the defense, and make a move on my opponent. When to use them, how to use them, and how I approach using skill moves. As I told you before, my attacking style is aggressive, and when you add skills to that aggressive style of play, you not only have more fun at the game, but become dominant and unstoppable. First, why do we need to do skill moves? This year's game is way slower and more methodical. You can't just run straight at defenders and hope for the best. You gotta wait, drag them out of position. That means you need some sauce in your game, a few cold skill moves ready to break down defenses. Now, if you watch any pro player, you'll notice one thing. They're always cooking with skill moves. At the top levels, defenders won't just step out and leave you gaps. So what you gotta do is create that moment of chaos. That's what a skill move does. It puts your opponent on skates, gives you a split second where they're scrambling, and that's your chance to exploit, to cook them and finish strong. Let's start with the basics. R2 plus L2 dribbling. What you want to do is tap them just like you see my controller and switch side. Don't hold it. Notice side by side how much more agile I am with the ball, then compare to basic left stick dribbling. This is the setup you need for those skill moves to really land. When you hold R2 and L2, you're keeping the ball tight to your player's feet, giving you way more control. It lets you reposition smoothly, which is key because for moves like the reverse elastico, your angle is everything. Now in this clip, you'll see me use it with Neymar, then switch to Vinny. Notice how I'm baiting my opponent to bite, waiting for that split second. Once I've got the angle lined up, I hit the move, and it's an easy goal. This control is where it all starts, so make sure you're mastering that R2 plus L2. Let's talk about one of my favorite moves in the box this year, the reverse elastico. This move is clutch when you're looking to exploit those tight pockets of space. It doesn't just shift your player's position. It gives you that quick speed boost to get past defenders and open up a shot. Here's how to pull it off. Depending on the direction you're facing, you're going to start on one side of the right stick and roll it to the other in a half-circle motion. For example, if your player's facing forward, flick the right stick from left to right to do it one way and right to left for the reverse. It's key to practice this because your angle and timing are everything, especially near the box where defenders are tighter. If you really want to nail this move, head into moments and look for the chip shot challenge under attacking. That's where I'm practicing it, and it's the perfect setup to work on your reverse elastico timing. This drill lets you work on close control and creating space in the box. Use that reverse elastico to shift your angle, then finish it with a simple shot. It's all about finding that pocket of space and performing a skill move to get past the defender. Go in, practice it like I am, and get comfortable with the timing and speed boost you get. And the final one I want to teach you boys today is the directional nutmeg. This move is super effective because it gives you a perfect angle for a pass, and you can pull it off even at full sprint. Super simple to execute too. Just hold L1 plus R1 and flick the right stick left or right, depending on where you want to go. Here's the trick. You can actually pass the ball before the animation even finishes, making it almost unstoppable in the box. You'll see a lot of pros use this to set up a quick pass or an easy assist. So get this move down, and you'll be cooking defenders and creating those clean passing angles in no time. Now, before you copy and paste the code, slow down and let me tell you everything you need to know regarding how I build up with it and dominate a game. This style of play is very fun, and it's close to an all-out attack method because I am a maniac who attacks like crazy. And like Shakespeare said, there is a method to my madness. What you need to first learn about this tactic is that it is all about the wing play. Many times, I see people frustrated, and I face these opponents myself. They are very easy to read because they are one-dimensional. They try to keep attacking from the middle, and if they go to the wings, they try to go to the byline, cut inside, and find a pass, which does not work this year, unlike last year. Now guys, the formation we will be going for is the 4-4-2 flat. We start with the build-up play. I suggest interchanging with balance and counter. For the longest time, I was using balance, and now I have been experimenting with counter. I would highly suggest using balance as it gives you better passing options. If you have watched Barcelona play this year, you would have noticed how high of a defensive line they play. And unlike Tottenham, they have perfected it, and this defensive approach is what people are using in the higher divisions and elite. I play a 95-91, as anything between 91 and up automatically activates an offside trap. This allows me to get the ball back fast and defend aggressively. Although I do have to warn you guys, this defending style can be difficult at first as it is high-risk, high-reward method. But you have nothing to worry about as this year the defenders are very OP and will catch up to attackers. The roles for the defenders are very simple. Both center-backs on defender, one full-back on full-back, and the other on wing-back. I like having at least one wing-back coming to help me in attack because it's easier to build up with an extra man, especially when the box is too crowded and you're going down the wing. For the midfield, we'll be keeping it simple. One holding and one box-to-box. The box-to-box midfielder will be heavily involved as they will be an option every time you go down the wing. Every single time. Most of the time when I run down the wing to build up my opponent, thinks I want to pass to my striker, but I am looking for my midfielder to then pass to my striker. For both wingers, we will do inside forward. If you ever feel like your wingers are not involved or non-existent, this is the fix. When you put them inside forward, they will be much more involved and a passing option, especially in the 4-4-2 formation. Using both strikers as false nines in EAFC 25 is the secret sauce because they will enhance your build-up and prevent your strikers from becoming isolated during play. The false nine role allows strikers to drop deeper into midfield rather than waiting at the top for a through ball. This movement pulls opposition defenders out of position, creating more space for midfielders and wingers to push forward. When both strikers play as false nines, they essentially form a central link between the midfield and the attack, encouraging fluid passing patterns and allowing for more players to be involved in advancing the ball. In practical gameplay, having strikers move into the midfield adds extra passing lanes and options for teammates. which makes it easier to break down defensive formations that are set up to block central spaces. This is the key, especially if you feel like your strikers are not involved, or whenever they get the ball, they get bullied of the ball. Now, using a false nine comes with its drawback because your strikers won't really make forward runs. That's why I highly suggest the L1 pass to make the strikers go on a run for Xbox LB. Make sure, guys, you give it at least a 4 to 5 games until you get used to it. This tactic I mentioned earlier is a very aggressive tactic that uses the wings and striker and midfielders all to attack aggressively. So make sure to use all of your players to build up, and you too will start scoring goals for fun. I want to introduce you to the 4-3-2-1, one of last year's most popular formations. As you might know, EA took it out of the game last year, but it's back this year with some tweaks. Instead of center forwards, we now have cams in those roles. And honestly, this change gives the formation a different but exciting dynamic. Now, let's dive into how to use this formation effectively. For those of you who just want the code, there it is. But I would advise experimenting with it for 5 games so that you understand the player roles better. Let's start with attacking and building up in this formation. The first thing you'll notice is that your midfielders, cams and striker are very narrow. This can make it tricky to stretch your opponent's defense. As I always say, stretching your opponent is key, so you'll need to be smart with your passing. Here's how you set up your key players for build-up play. 2 cams. Make sure at least one has the playmaker trait to help with those creative passes. For the other cam, it's less critical, but if you can use a shadow striker, it will give you a great edge in front of goal. Striker. I really like using Shellin in a false 9 role. This is especially useful if you feel like your striker isn't getting involved enough in the build-up play. The false 9 brings your striker deeper to link up with your midfield, which keeps the play fluid. For your midfield setup, one deep-lying playmaker who can defend. I personally use Patry in this role. The other 2 midfielders should be box-to-box to help in both attack and defense. These players are crucial for creating triangles and moving the ball around. And because this formation is naturally narrow, you'll want one of your fullbacks on attacking wing-back to add width. This will keep your build-up balanced and prevent your attacks from becoming too predictable. One major tip, avoid overusing the sprint button in the middle of the pitch. It's tempting, I know. It might even be reflexive for some of you, but trust me, slow it down. Use your passes to open up the field instead of trying to bulldoze your way through. This approach can feel a bit counterintuitive if you're like me and prefer a fast, aggressive style. But for players who thrive on control, this method is a game changer. One of the things that makes this formation shine is how you can utilize your midfielders in the attack. Don't be afraid to pass back to them to reset the play and form triangles. This is crucial for breaking down compact defenses. You'll find that this build-up style encourages you to really think about your passes. And once you master it, the results can be incredibly satisfying. Now, let's talk defending. What I absolutely love about the 4-3-2-1 is the amount of pressure you can apply to your opponents. Unlike the 4-4-2, where your players can sometimes feel a bit too spread out, the narrow nature of this formation lets you suffocate your opponent. It's like turning the pressure dial up to max. Closing down space and winning the ball back becomes much easier. This is one of the areas where the 4-3-2-1 truly excels. If you enjoy pressing and forcing mistakes, this is the formation for you. So there you have it, guys, the 4-3-2-1 formation. While it's not my go-to because of my aggressive tendencies, I know it's perfect for players who enjoy a more structured and deliberate style. Whether you're a possession player or just looking for a formation that balances attack and defense, this one's worth trying out. Let me know in the comments if you've tried the 4-3-2-1 and how it's working for you. And don't forget, if you want to level up your game, check out my coaching sessions in the link below. As always, much love and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.